going back to barber school, I was flying myself out to barber conventions, and I was seeing those celebrity barbers. I know the barbers who were cutting Diddy, Ludacris, Usher. So I'd identify who those guys were, and I'd go to the shows that they were at, and I'd go network specifically with those guys, and I'd go support their shows or whatever, and then buy their product. But then we're also doing dinners after their situations, at those hair shows, and I was the young kid. I was the 21-year-old kid at these shows. All these guys are like mid 30s, early 40s. And they're just like, man, this guy, he's, coming, showing face, and, he's getting after it, And I would come back home, like I said, ACL, South by Southwest is popping, and they're hitting me up. Hey, you said you were in Austin, right? Hey, I got Khaled down there. I got Rick Ross down there. You can take care of him. And it just, that's just kind of how that got going.
Welcome to another episode of Opinionated Off Topic. Off Topic is a show where we talk to content creators, business owners, and entrepreneurs and give them a platform to talk about what they do in their industry and allow them to discuss it. In today's episode, we have Tre the Barber, or Tre Abeita, on. Tre is a barber in the Austin area who has made numerous connections in the industry with other barbers out of state. Tre started taking calls from other barbers that would allow them to cut their hair, leading to actors, professional athletes, business owners, CEOs, comedians, things of that nature. Tre also owns 2 barbershops in the Austin area, whether that be in Kyle, where he's from, or in the greater East Austin area. If you guys like this episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you stay tuned for more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When we started this, when we were like 23, so make sure your mic's on. So I mean, we're just first time doing this, and just fresh out of college,
trying to become friends again.
Make friends. Really. I mean, we were just young button heads, not really understanding what life is really, because we're still also young. So there's times where we butt heads, but now it's just, we all.
That's what brothers are for, right?
Yeah.
Nah, for real.
Yeah. Now we're able to talk to each other and be like, okay, this is what needs to happen, blah 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 blah. So it's been a lot better.
Yeah, and then you get to a common goal, and it's like
and it's this, and it's nice because what brought us together with him is. Yeah, I'm wearing his shirt. It's Toga Media, and it stands for Together Our Goals Are Accomplished. Mm-hmm. And then that just kind of another reason why I think he wanted to join us was because he saw what we're trying to do, and he wanted to get better with the camera as well. Yeah. And it just snowballed into I'm just going to be y'all's main videographer, and I'm still going to do Toga, but I also want to help y'all accomplish y'all's goals as well.
Right. So, and it all goes hand in hand. So as this grows, that grows. Yeah. Everybody's helping each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because we've gotten him some gigs, I think, from people that we've had on our podcast, and he's gotten people that he's had some gigs for onto our podcast. Mm-hmm. So it's we just help each other out.
That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I go and film concerts with him and whatnot.
Nice.
Then in his next gig, I'll probably go out there. I was supposed to go to the last one, but something happened. But the next gig he has, I'll be out there. Every time he has a gig, I go with him.
You'll be busy during South by, huh?
I'm trying, man. Yeah. I'm trying to get I need to hit up some artists and just get my name out there.
Yeah.
Do you know how to get a media pass or anything?
Yeah. All it is application. You just hop online and you can apply.
Is it hard?
Nah, it's probably easier though to do it, beforehand, months.
Just being ahead of the time.
Just be ahead of the curve. So it's probably not closed now. I'd still look it up, but I'd probably recommend as soon as this one ends, apply for next year. Yeah, and then they'll send you the list of shows. I don't know if you pick, or they just appoint you to certain ones, and then next thing you know, you're shooting for Post Malone and Peso Pluma, whoever's coming that year, So it's dope, Yeah.
Probably Round Rock. Yeah.
I forgot y'all did that.
Yeah, we shot Gucci, and that was at Round Rock.
Yeah. Yeah. See, as a barber, that's what I used to do. I would go to one of the locations here downtown, and I'd be like, hey, I'm the artist barber. So I'd go hours before the show, and I'd go set up in the green room. And then the venue people would come up and be like, hey, who are you? Who are you with? And I'd be like, oh, I'm the artist barber or whatever. But then the artist people would come back there and be like, hey, who are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm with the venue. I'm the barber of the venue. So I'd just be lying to everybody.
Got it
work. I mean, you got your foot in the door.
I was cutting like A$AP Ferg, Torey Lanz, Lauryn Hill.
That's crazy.
That's
21
crazy.
Savage. It was crazy.
You got to fake it till you make it.
Right.
Literally. I mean, look where it's gotten you. You know.
Right.
But I mean, we just had a dope conversation. So I'm gonna leave that in. But thank you for taking time out your day. We're at the shop, local Austin, Texas Barbershop. I mean, for me at least, because I'm from here, so it's local for me. But Austin, Texas Barbershop, premier city in the world, man. I mean, I can't complain about this city. I love this city. I was actually talking to one of my friends today that he's in Houston right now. He's watching the Lakers and Rockets game. And he was like, man, Austin's a lot of years behind Houston. Like, they just got so much more than we have. I was like, in what sense? He was like, everything. I was like, I don't know about that. But maybe it's because I'm biased. I grew up here, so I see it. So
that's
I
definitely
love it.
not true. Like, Austin has everything. Houston's is huge. So it just appears like they got more.
Right.
And they got the pro teams and whatnot. Same thing with Dallas. But
that's all I want is a pro team. Like, if we can get a pro team in anything, like,
closest thing we have is MLS.
We have Austin FC.
Yeah, Austin FC. But I think we talked about it on our last podcast.
Yeah, we did.
I don't think there'll ever be a pro team here.
Yeah, I think it's too small.
Not that. I think just UT just holds too much weight.
Yeah,
that too.
They got that power. Like,
I think the University of Texas just holds too much weight, and it's just they'll prohibit anything, especially a football team. They'll prohibit a football team from coming here.
And then you have like the Spurs who are like very close. Like, you can just day trip, go watch.
And now they're doing the 2-game series every year down here at Moody.
That's
so
dope. I'll take that.
They got that. Yeah. I think it'll be probably the Spurs, if anybody, will come to Austin. Yeah. But I don't. Even then, I don't see them. There's just too much culture within San Antonio for them to just uproot and leave. So
for sure.
But yeah, we talked about us enough. We're here for you. So just give us a little backstory, just a little run through of who you are and how you got to do and what you're doing today.
Yeah, man. My name's Tre. A lot of people around the city know me as Tre the Barber. I started cutting hair when I was 13 years old. Kid in his garage. You know, my mom, she couldn't pay for her haircuts all the time. So, you know, we got some cheap like dog clippers for me and my brother. And for a year, we were probably just doing the one all over, keeping it simple. Got tired of it, of course. So I got a little more creative here and there, taper fades. My brother was older, so, you know, you mess your brother up, you know, it might be your ass. But
facts.
Yeah, I just fell in love with it pretty quickly. You know, I was already a creative. I was already drawing and doing a lot of artsy stuff. It was cool because I was cutting hair in the garage, but, you know, simultaneously playing sports, going to school with a lot of the minorities in the area of Kyle, Texas. And, you know, we didn't have a good barbershop out there. Everyone's going to Supercuts, you know.
It was just, back then, chains. It was just a small city. There's literally nothing out there.
Nothing. Yeah,
I mean, still, like, it's bigger today, but still, it's still kind of, like, empty. You have the two shopping centers on each side of each other. Other than that, it's just, like...
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. It's just now getting built up, really, with, like, the real estate market and all that stuff. Like, now people are telling, like, our generation, go buy a house out in Kyle. Yeah. It's going to appraise
it's
the next
booming,
10 years.
Bro. It's booming.
Yeah.
And that was the thing of 2023. With my only focus was to buy my first house. I mean, in a renter's market, you know, and then as a barber, it's like, you know, you're learning how to conduct a business for one, but you're also, you know, trying to keep track of taxes and, you know, the financial side of things. And this is a cash business. So if you're not putting it in the accounts, if you're not, you know, paying yourself properly or however you're conducting the business, it could be a mess, you know. So the times that I did apply for a house, I'm like making money and I'm thinking I'm good, but they're like, nah, you have no credit history. This looks funny on your taxes. So it was like, all right, and I had to get financial planning together, and finally bought my first house in 2023.
Congratulations, man.
So
yeah, bro.
Yeah, I know it's a big step.
Huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
Is it out in Kyle or no?
Yeah. So I moved out to Kyle back in 2000, and there was completely nothing out there. Fast forward, it's like to now, it's the fastest growing city in the country. So like you said, real estate market is booming like crazy, and yeah, man,
it's nice out there. It's quiet is the thing. It's still quiet. So and it's far enough from Austin, in my opinion, to where like the housing is still going to be like a good price. Because I mean,
and for me, it's been like the perfect balance too. Being a family man, having 3 kids, and then still trying to cut the celebrities that come through Austin. It keeps me. I get my taste of when I come to work. But then I can go back home and relax in a quiet neighborhood. It's the balance of life and the quality of life right now is just. I'm where I want to be right now.
Yeah, I definitely.
So you've been cutting hair since you were 13. What was it about just like cutting hair, like just stuck with you and you loved it? Was it just like the bonding time you got to spend with your brother, or is it just seeing like, oh, I cut this good this time? Like you just progressed every time. Like what was it about just cutting hair at such a young age that it just stuck with you?
For sure is the creative aspect. You start and you're not very good, but then you get seasoned in the industry and you get better and better, and lines are sharper, fades are starting to pop, and then it's just people, they start telling you you're doing better, like the cut's looking better. You get people from all over, I got people that come from San Antonio, Houston, Killeen, weekly to come get haircuts in Kyle, Texas. So, and it's been like that for over 10 years now. I think 19, almost 20 years collectively. Professionally, yes, I was licensed in 2012. Right when I had TJ, my firstborn, 11 years ago.
So you're just cutting in the garage from 13 years old till however you were until 18.
Yeah.
Were you just like, I guess, the city barber, like people in high school come to you to cut hair?
Yeah, for sure. And at the time, like I said, like there was no barbershop out there. So there was maybe like 2-3 people that was doing it out of the garage or in a restroom or in the kitchen. So quickly, it built that little rivalry, that triangle, rivalry.
Yeah.
And it was dope because we were all competitive. We all played basketball together, football, and it was dope that we had one more thing to be competitive. And it did get petty in the beginning when we were all like, now money was involved, and egos and all that. But once we got to the understanding, like, bro, like there's plenty of money out here. Like there's plenty, of opportunity. Once we got through all that as kids and we started looking at life as adults, like we came together, called a truce, and we. Now they're my closest friends. So.
That's dope. That's fine. I was going to ask you, you're still boys today. But that's
for sure.
Yeah. So how did you, because I was reading some of your bio, but you played college baseball.
Yeah.
So before college baseball, how did you find time to like cut hairs during school in summer? Because you have to play select ball to play college baseball. So you're always traveling, go to different camps and whatnot. So like where'd you find the time to like, between training and cutting hair to even do that?
It was literally right after practice. We were dead tired. We still had homework to do, but I prioritized that craft, and I probably worked harder in the barber industry than any other industry. Like I didn't train nearly as hard as I should have in sports, or nearly as hard as I should have or could have, But yeah, I always found time, whether it was before school. It'd probably be 6, 7 a.m. or 9 p.m. after practice. In the summers, we had workout like 2-a-days. I was cutting hair in the coach's office or in the locker room in high school. So we found any crease in the day to just get it in, so.
Was it just you, or did you have like at least somebody like helping you?
I was going to a barber, probably 20 minutes away in Lockhart, Texas. Barbecue capital.
Oh yeah,
I was just there. Yesterday. I was my brother. My grandparents live out there, and I went to go have barbecue for my brother's birthday.
Yeah, but Irvin Jackson, he's one of my mentors. He gave me my first barber chair. I would go, we'd get cut, and I would ask him questions as I'm getting haircuts, and I would take that and apply that to my brother's haircut or the kids around the neighborhood. So, the creativity just started to kind of go from there, really.
Yeah.
What were the prices like back then? Because now they're like,
yeah, I was gonna ask about the prices because
when you were cutting hair, really like $5-10, like $20 bucks. Like what was
surged, bro, in the last 20 years or less. But back then, a normal haircut was probably $15 to $20. Tip 5, tip 10, whatever your situation was back then. In the garage, though, as an unlicensed barber, I was doing it for free. I was doing it for $5. I had my little tip jar. Yeah. But yeah, I think in barber school, the normal was probably like 30 to 40, and it was more so because there's 40 barber chairs. There's so many barbers, but then there's so many clients too. And you walk into a barber school and it's packed. There's people everywhere. Yeah. And people pay for convenience. Bro, I'll throw you another 20 if you get me next. Real. You know, like, and it's already like a cheap haircut in a barber school. So I was averaging probably like $35, $40, you know, in the barber school time. That carried over for the first few years as a licensed barber. I think 2014 and 15, I think 50 started to be a little more. Yeah. You know, I wasn't charging that much, but I was seeing like more people were paying like 50, 60 for that convenience. Like, hey, bro, if you can get me in, you know.
Do you think the prices like have to deal with like the type of shop it is too, or like who's getting cut in there and stuff like that? Because I was telling them, I go to the Collective, you know, like that gym obviously has a price there, but it's because of who's going in and out that gym. It's like you're gonna be affiliated with that essentially by like name or whatever. So it's like if I'm going to Trey or whoever to get my haircut, then they like go to your IG, which we'll get into, and they see who like you're or who you're cutting and stuff. Right. They're like, oh, I'm gonna pay the money because I can just show my friends like this is my barber, and like you're cutting like Marquise Goodwin, or,
and that's really what separated me from a lot of the other barbers in the city, was the way I was able to brand myself. I was able to brand my whole portfolio as a celebrity barber. Like, you can go to any barber nowadays and everyone's calling themselves a celebrity barber, but if you went on my profile at a time, you would see only celebrities. And the reason I did that was because I wanted people to look at me and see me as like, dang, this guy only cuts celebrities. Like, I got to pay for this guy if I want to get to him, you know. And it kind of built a level of conditioning, you know, of the client. Not every shop or not every barber is able to present their portfolio in that way, but I think everybody is capable of it. I mean, I feel like you can only be so good at cutting hair. I'll probably never call myself the best barber ever, but, you know, the way I'm able to attract people and network, that's what separates me as a barber from the other barbers in the industry. But yeah, to answer your question, like, I think that's pretty much what.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because I mean, we go to the same barber, but because I only get a haircut once a month, so I'll probably just stick it out. I mean, now
because of the prices.
Because they're at $50. I'm just like, fuck, dude. Like, for me, everybody's different. You know, everybody has like their own reasoning for whatnot. But for me, like $50 is a lot because I don't really go anywhere to like even show off the haircut. I'm always at home. Yeah. I just, you know, you get it because you don't want to look like a bum, but
Even me, like I'm a hat guy, bro. Like
Yeah,
I cut my hair.
I wear a lot of hats.
I cut my
like
hair once a month. It's
Yeah,
just
that's
like
I get one haircut a month. And it's like $50. I'm just like, dude, if I get 2 haircuts a month, that's $100 just the haircut alone, not including a tip.
Right.
Back in the day, it was every 2 weeks too. But like he's saying, like I feel like if you're like a salesperson, always in front of people, like financial advisor, realtor, like whatever, you just got to always be presentation on 10.
Right.
And I can see it. But like he's saying, if you're just
I think too, though, as barbers, like we've always wanted to present this industry as like a luxury service. You know, I think for the longest time, barbers were looked at as they might be selling weed behind their chair. They might be kind of hood. You know, like barbers for a long time was kind of looked like that, like as unprofessional. They're coming to shop and baggy sweatpants and playing hood music or whatever. But like.
But that's the culture, though.
It is.
You know,
it
like
is.
when you think of a barber, like at least when I think of a barber, like I think of I don't even know what the thing's called, but the light with the spinning thing, and I just think of like, just minorities getting like fades, cuts, and just kicking it with the boys in the shop. Like that's what I think of when I think of like just a barber. So like it's just part of the culture. So I mean, I get it, but for me, at the same time, I feel like you have to understand like it's just the culture of it.
Yeah, and the culture of like the barbershop is like true. It's like you go in the barbershop, you hear all kind of stuff, gossip, or you're talking about the newest album, or you're talking about sports. Like that's what you go there for, the camaraderie. Like I feel like that's like a big aspect of it. But when you can mix that luxury portion of it too, it's just like you hit the jackpot.
Right. And I think that's why prices have also gone up, because barbers are now wanting to present themselves as businessmen. A lot of people care about their craft now. Back then, like I said, it was a lot different. Barbers were late coming to the shop, or they'd eaten mid-cut, or they're going back and forth.
On the phone.
Yeah, exactly. So I think as time has progressed, barbers have taken a step into the industry and wanted to present themselves as professionals. And with that, you got on-time barbers. The quality of the cuts have gotten way better than what we were getting when we were younger. So
not for us, used to just be ball fade.
Literally,
that was it.
So the level of barbering now is, the quality of haircuts now is way better than what we were getting as kids. And barbers that are taking it serious know that their work is top tier, and to them, to us, it's like, I can and I do deserve, top dollar for my time, because I know that you're going to walk out of here, feel good, and, you're going to get compliments, and you're going to come back,
There's only like, well, I guess I'll ask this question first. Well, I'll say this first. We'll ask this question, I should say. Do you think it's gotten more serious? People are taking it more serious because of social media, or do you think they're taking it more serious because they see the money that they can make?
I think both. Even with our barbers here, we play numbers games. Like if I cut 10 heads in a day, 5, and then the prices range, the services range, but it becomes like a game, like a mental game in your own mind. How many cuts can I do in a day, or you start pushing those type of limits. What was the other part of the question?
I was going to say, do you think it's because of social media, or do you think it's because of the money that they can make? Like why they got
For sure.
better?
Barbers are content driven now. I think, the creativity that you can bring online and in the barbershop all goes hand in hand. It's got everybody booked in the shop, and then you got to go home, review footage, edit. There's a whole process to editing and doing all that. So it's work after work, and then you're trying to balance wife, kids, family, sports, if that's what you got going on. But
what are some things you've seen, I guess, like in the industry from other barbers and like their content that like I guess helps grow like their brand or their shops?
Recently, I found a guy who he speaks he has kind of like a podcast too, but he speaks directly to the audience of like clients. Most people speak out towards the barbers, and barbers notice that content, but it stays within the barber community. There's this one guy, he speaks out to the clients and helps the clients understand the whys of being on time to your appointment, why you're probably getting charged this, or add-on services, just being mindful with time management type stuff, So as the client, you're like, oh, okay, like you're getting coached on how to be like a good client,
Yeah.
There's people that utilize lighting differently on social media, so that there's tons of different ways to be creative as a barber on social media.
Yeah.
And, I mean, a lot of people catch my eyes. I could name barbers in different cities, just who I'd look up to as far as content creating.
That one guy, I think his name's like Vic Blends.
Yep.
Yeah, like giving people free cuts, and that might be homeless or whatever the case may be, and he's like interviewing them and like getting to know them and stuff, and like change people's life. And I really like his content. I watch it.
And his verbiage, the way he speaks to like everything about his page is like inspirational, motivational. Like as he's doing the cut, he's asking the kids like, "What do you want to be when you grow up, and why?" And or people that have stories of why they are homeless, or whatever the case may be, but. It's interesting, and then you have a big level of respect for it, because to take your stuff and go cut somebody in the street, like it's not a comfortable situation, and then getting passed by people on the street, hey, do you want a free haircut? They're like, nah. How many times does he hear no before they get somebody to say yes?
I'm gonna take that free haircut.
Right.
Facts. Especially in this economy.
Earlier you said that everyone kind of just brands themselves as a celebrity barber now. So when you go on social media, like how can you tell the difference between like this person's actually a celebrity barber and this person actually isn't, even if they have a celebrity cut or two on their page?
Well, I think people that call themselves celebrity barbers, I think it's one of two things. It's either you're cutting celebrities, or you're just a well-known barber, like a Vic Blends. He does have a portfolio of some celebrities, but I think he's more well-known for his outreach in the community, and I think that trumps cutting just celebrities. So yeah, I think that's. I mean, you can go on somebody's page and really decide for yourself, like. And see the engagement, see the following, see who he's cutting in the shops, or if he's always doing house calls, or if, like there's different ways to identify like a true celebrity barber.
Yeah. And then earlier you also said like when y'all are in here, y'all play a numbers game. So like if I cut 10 heads this day, blah blah blah. Is there ever like any downfall in the quality when you're trying to get that much quantity of people? Like, how does that go hand in hand? Because, like, we spend, like 45 minutes in the chair, maybe? An hour with Turo?
Yeah, it depends. 45 minutes is normally good.
So, like, I don't, like, is there a difference in, like, spending an hour in the chair versus, like, you booking out an appointment for an hour and 15 minutes instead of, like, 45 minutes just to, like, give you that time and, like, pay attention to the hair?
I mean, you got an hour service, hour 15-minute service versus a 30-minute service is going to include probably like the black mask, facial scrub, the hot towel, the shave. So I mean, with more time comes more service. But what was the original question you said?
Is there like a decline in the performance of like the haircut when you're trying to cut 10 people in a day versus keeping it to like 5?
I would probably say yes if you're sitting there just trying to spit them out. But I mean, for most part, barbers in general, we have our schedule kind of put out for the day, and then you just kind of hope to get a walk-in in a spot where you didn't have somebody, on your schedule. But it's never really. Like, you don't really see a lot of walk-in shops anymore. So it's a lot of shops are appointment-based now. And it kind of keeps the waiting areas down. it's helpful, you know.
Yeah, I've kind of, I noticed that because I recently didn't start getting fades until 2019 maybe.
Yeah.
20. I was always like
Square in
go
the
to
back.
like I would go to like sports clips or something like that or great clips or whatever, but I wouldn't get haircuts. I would get like an inch taken off of my hair with like scissors
yeah.
all the way around. And do you know Turo?
Yep.
Yeah, Turo. I worked at Topgolf with him.
Oh, okay.
And then he was this was when he was in school. He was like, "Let me give you a fade. Let me give you a fade. Let me give you a fade." I kept saying no. I said no for like a year straight, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm good. And eventually, I was like, "Man, fuck it.
Yeah.
Fade me up, whatever." And then he faded me up, and ever since then, I've been going to him. And he at Fade Box, just like every time someone walks in, you got an appointment, because there's one person if there is somebody that just takes the walk-ins.
Right,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, walk-ins, like, that's not a thing at all anymore. Like, I remember like growing up, you know, just getting haircuts and stuff like that because my dad would cut me when I was young, and then I started getting haircuts, changing barbers and all that stuff. And you just got people coming in, and it's like, oh yeah, can you do a walk-in? Or no, I can't do that. But now it's like the apps, and I guess to lead into my next question with like clientele and stuff like that, I feel like once you're already an established like barber, you just check your phone and you're like, okay, I got 10 cuts I got to do today. And like, then you just go through the list and stuff like that. Like it kind of just self-service in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Because once you find that barber, you just stick with them. Typically is like how most people are. Like a lot of people aren't like trying different barbers unless they're just bad. Right. But once you find one just that's like get you that one cut, and then you just, oh yeah, same thing. In the chair, same thing. So it's like,
and it's a
you already
beautiful
know.
situation.
Like,
you know, to walk in and same thing as last time. Yeah. All right, cool. Like,
Does the guy in Lockhart still cut your hair?
No, he's actually in Barbershop now, but I've been cutting my own hair since.
You just cut your own hair now?
And that's really how I got started. So my first client was me. You know, I was cutting my own hair and messing myself up.
How hard is
I've
that?
always wanted, I've always like wondered that because there is people who cut their own hair. Like, how do you get like the back of your head and like not go up to like, how do y'all do that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when I started, it was hard, but you know, I use the handheld mirror, and then I, you know, use a mirror on the wall, and I'm able to angle the mirror, see the back.
Okay,
it's a process for sure, and then, I don't know a lot of barbers that do it, but I mean, now that we have a shop full of barbers, we can all just sit in each other's
cut
chair.
each other's hair.
Yeah. Well, because I was asking that because it's like also people like once they find their barber, you just that lower to the soil, you know, you're like, oh, I ain't letting anybody else touch my hair but my barber.
Right.
And Turo, he goes to his original barber still. He don't get cut by anybody else in Fade Box. He goes to his original barber still.
That's dope.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you still went to your guy because I mean, even if he does go up, like I said, I'd probably still stay with him just because I was the first person to give me a fade, and like he gives great cuts. So I mean, I can't complain about it, you know. So
once you got your guy, it's like we're good, we're set.
Yeah. So how did you get into the life of like celebrities? Like where did you find that door to like get you into there? Because you've been cutting hair, you're cutting it in college as well. You come home. And then some UT players hit you up, and was that the door that like got you to? Definitely,
yeah. That was that's pretty much where it snowballed. 2012, started cutting U.S. Olympian Marquise Goodwin. He played football here at Texas. His senior year, he had a great year. He gets drafted, I think might have been the first round. We got to fact check that, but he got drafted. He goes off to the Buffalo Bills, and you know, I just utilized the local network. And then once people started popping out here and going to different franchises, you know, I was flying out to their facilities, whether it was, you know, in LA or New York, Miami, you know, I was everywhere. So I would utilize, you know, those clients that were getting those opportunities, whether it was NFL, MLB, NBA, but then simultaneously, ACL Festival, South by Southwest is growing like crazy out here. Going back to barber school, I was flying myself out to barber conventions, and I was seeing those celebrity barbers. I know the barbers who were cutting Diddy, Ludacris, Usher. So I'd identify who those guys were, and I'd go to the shows that they were at, and I'd go network specifically with those guys, and I'd go support their shows or whatever, and then buy their product. But then we're also doing dinners after their situations, at those hair shows, and I was the young kid. I was the 21-year-old kid at these shows. All these guys are like mid 30s, early 40s, and they're just like, man, this guy, he's coming, showing face, and he's getting after it, know. And I would come back home, like I said, ACL, South by Southwest is popping, and they're hitting me up. Hey, you said you were in Austin, right? Hey, I got Khaled down there. I got Rick Ross down there. Can you take care of him? And it just, that's just kind of how that got going.
Oh, gotcha.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask, like, back then, like, social media, it was a thing, but it wasn't like what it is today. Like, it wasn't like, that's like kind of like your resume, so to say. And back then, it was kind of, it was new. People weren't using it for what it was used for. So I was wondering, like, how did Marquise go and find you? Like, how did these people, low people, like, find you and hit you up?
Right after, it actually was Facebook. It was Facebook was not very popular, I would say, in 2009. I mean, it was, people had it, but it wasn't like it's used today.
Yeah.
Instagram was very basic. I think more people were attracted to Vine and Voxer. I don't know if y'all remember those, but social media was definitely starting to heat up. I remember I posted a picture of Marquise, and Tyrese Gibson actually hit me up, and that was just because I was utilizing those hashtags. And any platform I use specifically for barbering. I'd post a picture, whether I thought it was good or not, but I wanted to see progress for myself. But once I noticed that people were gravitating towards my page, and the following started to grow, I started to utilize the hashtags and tagging options. I was like the first spammer probably, bro. I was tagging everybody. But we got that situation with Tyrese. He hit me up. He's like, you need to get into cutting these VIP heads in LA, and it was a time, man. It was cool. And Marquise, he's, anytime I posted him or a picture, he would repost.
Yeah.
So his following's now seeing it in Buffalo and UT alumni. And then, his people are hitting me up, and it just kind of snowballed, really.
So when you started cutting, like, going from him and then started cutting more like A-list and S-list celebrities, like, especially in the music industry, what was that experience like? Like, you're about to, for example, cut like DJ Khaled's head. Right. Like, you don't want to mess his cut up, right? So, like, so what's that like, just when you get these people in your chair and
also, other question.
Yeah.
What, it's the same thing, but what is it like cutting their hair? As in, like, do y'all have to, like, close the shop and, like, just him and his bodyguard? Like, what is that like as well?
Most of the time with the music or musicians, it's been like they have an itinerary that's crazy. I might be cutting hair like 2 a.m. or like 3 a.m. They might have flown in at midnight right on the private jet, or their tour bus gets here late at night, and they got a show or speaking at a panel at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. for South by, or they got a show in a few hours, at like 4 a.m. or something like that. So the music industry is like super inconsistent, but we never really had to lock down anything, because then that hurts my barbers, like, oh, man, what do you mean I can't cut? Like, I wouldn't do that. So situations like that, I would go to their hotel, I'd go to the green room at the venue, just to keep that intimate, keep them comfortable in their own area, somewhere, well lit, got plenty of mirrors so they can, see what they're getting and everything. But once I get going, to answer your question, it's like there's just another haircut for me. There is that anticipation or that feeling of like, damn, I'm about to go see DJ Khaled or whatever. And you get in there, you start talking to him. He's like, yeah, let me get a 2 on top and a ball fade. I'm like, how many times have I done that? That's like the easiest haircut.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, once you realize people are just people, you know, and especially in a small little hotel room, like, nothing makes them feel more normal than just being in a normal sized room. Like, you know, I was cutting his hair. He was sitting, you know, in his hotel room. The bed's right there. Like, you know, just normal hotel room. But
yeah, that's cool.
I've always like wondered like how, because who was it? So one of our friends got cut by Travis Scott's barber. They paid like $100. So like I've always wondered, like when you do like celebrities like that, is it just like is it different for each like celebrity? Or do y'all like charge like a
like an upcharge?
Yeah, like an upcharge. Since you're going to them, going to the hotel, waking up at 2 a.m., going to cut, like stuff like that.
For sure, yeah. The more inconvenient it is, the more I charge. Like,
absolutely.
If it's 2 a.m., oh man, like that was the situation with Wale. I cut Wale. You know, he's dreads, but
yeah,
I get there at 2 a.m. because they asked, and I get there, I'm ready to do the cut, and as people reach out, they're like, "Hey, he's actually gonna go to bed right now." I'm like, bro, I just drove from Kyle to downtown Austin to do this cut. Y'all said y'all needed me here, and now he's not here, or now he's not available. He's like, yeah, can we do it at 8 a.m. instead? I'm like, bro, that's in 6 hours. I'm like, Jesus. So, yeah, I hit Wale over the head unapologetically, bro. But, you know, situations like that, you know, they definitely got to pay for it. You know, because I'm also a family man. Like I said, like I got kids at home. I got a wife. Like, what's your wife? Would a wife believe that story, right? Like,
nah, for real though.
You know,
like what you so you had to do this and that.
Right,
like they're not gonna,
like you left late at night to go cut him, but you didn't cut him, so now you got to go in the morning.
Look, babe, I'm showing you.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, it's frustrating for sure. And I did dabble in the music industry for a little bit as a music manager, and I noticed the itinerary was never what it was originally supposed to be, you know, and it was like, you know, and that's the only reason I got into it really was, you know, my network in the barber industry kind of led me into the situation with the music, and which is dope because barbers have done it before. Like the guy who put me on the Khaled cut, his name's Rich. He's Bryson Tiller's manager, Party. He's got some dope, but he's originally a barber. Fat Joe's like he was part of Terror Squad, all that, like as the Terror Squad barber, and then just kind of graduated, you know, in the music industry. Like, it's pretty dope.
Have you ever like gone to any like big, I guess, games for football, or like gone on tour with any artists or anything?
Yeah, I did Super Bowl 50 with the Carolina Panthers. Fozzie Whitaker played here at UT. Yeah. Goes to Carolina, balls out. Yeah. They go to Super Bowl, Cam Newton. And I was able to go to that. You know, they put me on the family list. I got the badge and everything.
That's fire.
All the festivities that they had for Super Bowl 50, whether it was a Nike party and had they had won the party, the guest list had like Jay-Z, Beyonce.
That game was rigged.
I was like, oh my God. it was all for Peyton.
That game was rigged. That was Bill on Super Bowl said that was rigged. That for sure was rigged.
But no, it was cool. And a lot of the Panthers didn't even go to the after party. They had lost. They weren't in the mood.
Yeah, for sure.
I was up there eating all the food, meeting all the people.
You best believe I'm up there.
Yeah, got to soak the whole experience.
Right.
Literally. What did you just cut Fozzie's hair?
No, it's like the whole running back room, some of the defense. I wanted to cut like
Jonathan Stewart.
Yeah, Jonathan Stewart was there. Yeah, cut him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably one of the bigger events I've done. We did a tour with Torey Lanz. He was the opener for Drake actually on the Assassination Vacation Tour, 2019, and it was dope. You know, I think at the time Drake and Torey Lanz had a little like beef going in like 2017, 2018, but they're both Canadian. They're both like, you know, they had a lot of similarities. It was just that little like I guess home rivalry type thing. that they had going on, but they ended up squashing that. They came together, agreed on a tour, and it was dope because his management, Torey's management, is from Austin, and that's how I got put on like a lot of festivals, the tours, a lot of the music industry opportunities. But yeah, there's a moment I'm out there in London, and I'm just like, damn, I'm out here with like the two biggest artists in the world right now. Like, I'm from Kyle. Like,
so I was also just talking to my girl from my family yesterday about like Taylor Swift. Like, she just random town in Pennsylvania. She lived on a cow farm, and like look at her now. And like you, like Kyle, Texas, essentially the same thing. It's like nothing but land, and there's cattle out there. Like, and like you're going on tour with Torey Lanz, right? And just a kid from like Kyle, Texas.
Yeah, bro.
Kind of in the middle of, not really, but kind of in the middle of nowhere.
For sure. I've had a lot of those surreal, taking back moments where it was just like, dang, man, like, I was just with these people, that person, or, Super Bowl for me was big because I'm a sports guy, That was like the thing that you thought was like unreachable. Like, man, I can't ever go to a Super Bowl. Things too expensive.
Yeah, and that's the last podcast we had on as well. She was from Kansas City. Her graduating class in high school was like 30-something people.
Yeah, 30-some people.
Wow.
Yeah.
She went to the Super Bowl.
She went to Super Bowl now coming up twice. Because she went
I'll see her team twice.
Yeah.
Damn.
She went when the Chiefs won when they played
last year against the Eagles.
Yeah. And then she's going again this year.
Yeah,
but it's all for work, but it's because of what she does. But like, she graduated with the class of 36, and like she's going to the biggest sporting event in history.
That's wild.
And to see her team playing it is just like,
I'll never see my team playing
For
it.
sure.
You like the Cowboys too?
I like Cowboys. Not diehard, but yeah,
I'm a
I just love
diehard Cowboy
sports in
fan.
general.
Yeah. I feel
And then half the guys that come to UT, they go to all these different franchises.
Yeah, so you just become like a fan of them, but like
Right,
support the team that they're doing.
And then fantasy sports keeps me like.
Yeah.
I took off this year. This was my first year not playing fantasy.
He was running from our work league. He wasn't.
It's. I mean, I guess it didn't make it any better, but it's a lot better to watch sports when you're not playing fantasy.
Yeah.
Just because it just pisses you off when your team's not like, or your players aren't performing.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of not enjoyable. Then again, I did sports bet, so that for sure made it not,
for sure.
not enjoyable.
Like for me, I noticed when I wasn't doing fantasy, I wasn't watching sports as much as I wanted to or would have liked. So when I started doing fantasy again, I started watching.
It made you watch it.
And I even did the basketball league.
Basketball hard.
That's how sports
baseball
betting
hard.
is with me right now. Like making me watch the NBA more because I like the Thunder. We're good this year, but like the NBA is just so many games, so I just really don't care to watch it. But I've been sports betting it more. So now I'm like, oh, this player is like pretty good. Like I didn't know who he was, but now I'm like starting to keep up with players and stuff like that. So.
I do sports cards too. I got like, a big collection. So the between sports cards, video games, and then just watching games, like you learn about so many younger players. Like, because Bron's already on his way out. Like,
man, still going crazy too. I got to see him before he retires. I got to go see
Bron, Kevin Durant.
I was able to catch him in San Antonio. My homeboy had a courtside.
Yeah,
and I was like, we sat like right behind what's his name? The big center for the Spurs.
Jacob?
No, the old guy.
Oh, Tim Duncan?
The other one.
David
Robinson.
Oh.
Bro. I cannot remember his name right now.
I thought you were talking about like, oh yeah.
No, we sat right behind him, so it was like the second row or whatever. But just to see in person how big these guys are, how big LeBron is for
it's
one.
Crazy.
It's like Gronk playing basketball,
bro. Crazy.
It's
nuts,
different.
Bro. And the build of the NBA is like tall, skinny.
Yeah.
And Bron's over here just muscle bound. Like, it's wild, bro.
Freak
Gotta see him play though.
Athletes for sure.
Yeah.
Two things. One thing I meant to ask on the last podcast and I didn't, so I'm asking on this one. But one, did you get to meet Drake when he went on tour or no?
Yeah. I met Drake here in Austin at the Four Seasons. Met him on tour plenty of times, and then after the shows they throw like these little kickbacks, parties and stuff like that.
That's cool.
They might host or they throw dinners. So you know, so saw him plenty of times in there, and that was pretty cool too. But their crew with like little brother, like Torey's crew, so it was just like,
Yeah.
even though it was like their two main big artists, it was still such a gap. Like it was still Drake was still on another planet.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I bet.
Does well, I know he has his own barber, but he never got to cut his hair. Like when they're here, him and 21 were here. Like they don't hit you up, his own barber.
No,
I'm
so
sure
they
travels
travel with J Mac. That's his name. They were like high school homeboys. You know, they were cutting each other.
That's fire.
You know, back in the day.
First barber,
Yeah,
And
for sure.
get put on with your boy, you know. Yeah,
and then,
that makes
then
sense.
for it to be Drake, you know,
Yeah,
it's like the same thing with
exactly.
LeBron. Like his barber Nick, they grew up together. You know,
Yeah.
he's been cutting them for years and years. So, you could probably name a lot of these celebrities and know their guys.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. The other thing I meant to ask on the last podcast, but I didn't. But have you ever? Because I mean, you live a crazy life. You're constantly changing your times and doing all these different events and whatnot. And there's always stuff going on in Austin, so there's always celebrities here. Have you ever just like took a step back and like realized like what you've done and like smelt the roses?
Yeah, for sure. The past like 2 years, I want to say, like since COVID, I was able to reflect all of 2020. You know, I was looking back on everything, and I was like, man, like I've done this so much, you know, and it's been rewarding, you know, financially. I mean, I could be walking in the grocery store and like, hey, you Trey the barber, like, and for a barber to get that type of recognition was big, because I was like, man, I'm a local like service guy, like I just cut hair, you know. But for people to look at me and really see what I've done and to kind of like be inspired by it was dope. You know, my high school now was the first high school to have the barber cosmetology program inside of the school, and not that I was like a major factor in that, but the opportunities that kids have nowadays, it's dope. Like imagine if I would have had that opportunity, I could have skipped college really and then got my license, and I would have been in and out of the city like crazy. But you know, I wouldn't change a thing though. You know, the route I took, you know, led me to my son, my children. You know, I got 3, TJ 11, Derek 9, and then Amelia, she's 4, just turned 4. So
nice.
You know, going back to reflecting on 2020, I took a step back, but I was like, man, like I want to use this time, you know, and the COVID year to really like stamp myself as a father now. You know, like I'm this mogul in the barber industry, right? But I want to be more present, you know, for my kids, my wife, you know. So
You don't want to be Tre the barber. You want to be dad.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, even in my bio on IG, I used to prioritize like the shop, barber, whatever, you know. And now I'm just like husband, father, you know. Like, I think it's those little details that you just kind of like embed in yourself, and like, and I mean, the older you get to, you just kind of reprioritize. You take a step back and see what's important in that season in your life. You know, my oldest son is 11. You know, he super artistic. He has a lot of my qualities, a lot of his mom's qualities, and it's about finding what they gravitate towards and then helping them elevate that. You know, like he's not a baseballer like I was, but what does he like? You know, maybe it's art, maybe it's football, maybe it's something else. You know, and it happens to be art and football and you know those things. So I was heartbroken when he was like, "No, I don't want to play baseball anymore." I'm like, "No," but you know, my second son, Derek, he threw a curveball at me the other day talking about he wanted to play baseball. I'm like, "What? Let's go!" Like signed up, everything. So we're good there. And then baby girl, she comes out. She's throwing the ball with us, swinging the bat. Like she's in dance, so she's got her own thing. But you know, part of being a father and a leader is you know, just to kind of help elevate everything that they like. You know.
Yeah. Because there's nothing like those moments. I mean, I'm not a dad, but
Yeah.
I mean, I have nieces and nephews. niece that's...
Shoot, that's either your inspiration to have a kid or your birth control.
No, that's my birth control. Hey, they're enough for me. I had to watch my nephew, my niece, and my other one of my nieces is 4, my nephew's 10, and my niece is 4 months.
Right.
And then I had to watch one of their friends all by myself. And I don't hold baby. Like I don't really hold babies. Even my nephew or my nieces, like I didn't hold them because I'm like, I'm not holding them.
Yeah.
But like I had to watch them by myself for like an hour. I was like, dude, I can't do that. I'm not built for this life. It's stressful. I can't do this. But like, they're not my kids, but like, it's like they're just another it's a different type of connection. Like, that's the closest thing. My nephew's the closest thing I had to a son, and like I'm gonna kind of treat him like he's my son. Like I'm gonna do anything for him. I'm gonna do everything for him.
For sure.
Make it to all his games. But like as you were saying, he doesn't want to play. Like he played baseball, and now he's like, I don't want to play baseball anymore. It's like, dude, like because me and my brother both play baseball, so it's like, why? Like I don't want to play. It sucks. It's boring. It's not fun. I'm just like, dude, you like give it time. You're young, and like once the game gets faster, it's fun. But
for sure.
You can't push stuff on them, and that's what we're not trying to do.
I grew up a coach's son, and you know, a lot of attention's on you. If you do bad, if you do good, you know, you're viewed differently by the parents and your coach, you know, who is also your dad. You strike out, you got to hear it in the car ride home. Like, you know, you can't act like the other kids. You got to act like you've been there before, or act like, you know, like, I don't know. It's I've shied away from coaching just because of that reason. Because I want sports to be more fun. You know, I think when we were growing up in select sports, like it's serious. Like you want to play, you want to get better. You know, you're challenging yourself, and it wasn't like rec where it's like, oh, you got a base hit, that's cute. You know, like no, I got a base hit, but it should have been a double, or you know, like the level of, you know, talent or, you know, it's different in the select world. But you want your kids to have fun. You want them to perform well. You want them to work hard, but you don't want to just be down there throat with it, you know?
So I told my girlfriend, I was like, I probably will never coach any of our kids. Because it's a lot, man. Like you being the coach and then like you yelling at, like, we don't try to do it, but like you prioritize your kid because it's your kid, you know. But I don't know. I just don't want there to be like bad blood between like I'm the coach and your dad, and I'm yelling at you. Like I'm just like, hey,
that's exactly why I've shied away from it.
So you own 2 businesses. You have or 2 shops. You have this shop right here, and then you have the shop more south, like where you're from. And Kyle, what have been some of the, you know, the differences or the struggles with not only starting a business, but branching off and starting your own shops and whatnot? Because a lot of barbers typically are, you know, they pay their booth rent, they cut, make their booth rent, then everything else they normally pocket. But, you know, getting into not only knowing that you want more from it besides that. Like what was like the thought process on that, and how's it been managing the 2 shops?
I think, you know, for one, is just kind of like taking that leap of faith. You know, I took that leap of faith at an early age, and I really didn't know the business. You know, so the only way that, like, there wasn't a book I could study on how to run a barbershop. You know, all I could do was like kind of jump into it and learn by experience. You know, so trial and error. It's been a lot of trial and error, especially with, you know, this 3-story build out that we got now. It's still a process. Like we've been working on this floor, then we're working on that floor, and you know they're doing the mural outside as we speak. So it's like, and we've been in here for like 7-8 months. So it's like it's a process. You know, it's a working process. And then, you know, learning the finances and learning how to budget, and then, you know, giving the barbers what they need, and advertising, running ads, stuff like that. So it's a whole thing. You know, you don't think about it right away, but as you go, you grow. You know, so it's been overwhelming at times, but you know, I wouldn't do it any other way. Like I love where I'm at, like in life right now, like with the shops, you know, the people around us, like we're having fun for sure.
That's good.
Yeah. Bert, you have anything you want to ask? I know you don't have a microphone and you always have questions, so the floor is yours, sir.
What's the hardest part about being a father, and how do you make time? And obviously, you make time for what's important, but do you have a planner? You just kind of block days off where you're like, you know what, these days are dedicated to my wife and kids.
Yeah.
How do you go about that?
My wife. Yeah, I think
She's
man,
the boss.
she's like the best part of the support system, right? So hey, make sure you're doing this, make sure you're doing that. Hey, like if I'm ever getting steered off track, she's like, hey, get back on track. Like, but I'll never put anything over family. Like heading into like 2020, that's when it was clear as day. Like I'll never put the work over, my kids. Like I'll pass on a tour, I'll pass on an opportunity now, just to have that experience of going to practice, going to the game. Like I'll never miss. I missed one game while I was in London with on the tour with Torey, and I just felt guilty of that. I had homeboys that were coaching. They're sending me pictures of my son, and it was like a sour feeling. And I was just like, yeah, nah, this ain't it. Like, and it was just one game. Like, it was like, it should be harmless, right? But
Yeah.
it was also like, yeah, I know where my heart's at, So after I came home, I knew I had to reprioritize. Then boom, COVID hits, and it was a perfect time to get all that family time in. We had baby girl was born January that year, on the 11th. And then
Right before it all went down.
right, and then like Kobe died, and then like
Oh, it was crazy.
That was crazy.
everything
man.
got shut down in March, right?
Like March,
Something like that.
Yeah,
Something like
it was
that.
in
February, March.
Right. So it was just like a, quick little events that were happening that I remember. Like, and once everything was shut down, I mean, we were spending more time together. We were in the backyard playing, riding bikes in the front. Like teaching them how to ride bikes was big for us. Like, it's like the thing that you hear about, your dad. Like I would, like going fishing with your dad. That's like the number one like thing you hear about father and son, right? I mean, we did stuff like that, doing wiffle ball in the backyard or soft toss, like throwing a football, jumping on a trampoline, like it's those little things, that they remember.
Priceless moments.
Right,
Yeah.
that they're always going to remember. And so since then I've prioritized family all the way, but I've also noticed how they support, and it's good for them to see that dad, he's a business owner. He's got an important role in the business. He works. It's good that they can see a father's work ethic. Like, you come home every day and your dad's on the couch and just watching TV. Like, you don't really gain anything from that or learn anything from that. So for me, I'm always staying active. I make sure my boys see, the positive sides of what I do.
That's good.
I got one more. As a dad, what's the biggest piece of advice you got to your kids, and for those out there who are chasing a dream who don't have that father figure?
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Man, that's a good question. Specifically for my kids, I think they've learned, like I said, like my work ethic, spoke volumes for so long. Like they'll never be able to just call me lazy, Growing up though, like I was not rebellious, but I was like real independent, and independence as a kid is a good thing, because you're learning more about yourself. But to have a father figure or a parent kind of steer you is crucial, because there's, especially nowadays, and Kyle specifically, it's like the leading area for like fentanyl, so like there's talks weekly with parents who've lost kids with, substance abuse. And they go to the school and they have like kind of like pep rallies, and they talk to the kids like weekly, monthly. And, it's important for the fathers to enforce discipline and just not be on you, but just be involved in their life. Just like my son, he can ask me questions as if we're friends, you know. But I also let him know, like, I'm not your friend. I'm your father. So you know, you don't call me bruh. You don't say, you know, facts, bet. Like, nah, you speak to me like, you know.
Some respect.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, that's a great question, man. Like me, I watch a lot of motivational. I have a lot of motivational like mentors that I follow and stuff like that. And, you know, if I hear it and it hits me, like I'll relay the message immediately to my kids, you know, like, and the wife. You know, we send each other parenting, coaching tips all the time. You know, if we ever feel like, oh, I got after him for this, or he, you know, maybe he's not performing well in this category, like math or something like that. Like, you know, things can get frustrating, but you just got to keep everything, you know, respectful. You know, you can't disrespect your kid and then expect him to, you know, do well after that. You know, like you got to keep everything like respectful, I guess. But yeah, man, it's hard. Parenting's hard, bro.
it's an ongoing process. You learn,
and it's hard to be a good parent. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it's easy to be a deadbeat.
I think as long as you're learning and trying, you're a good parent.
I mean, it's just like running the business, right?
Yeah.
You trial and error.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, our parents probably don't feel like
they're good parents, and their parents,
Right.
it's
how it is. It's a learning thing. Like, your parents have never raised the 28-year-old.
Yeah.
You're the 28-year-old,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
and like my grandmother, she's never raised the 50-year-old. My dad's the 50-year-old. You know? So it's like everybody at every tier of parenting is learning, you know, and it's like I still feel like I'm a kid raising a kid, you know. So
That's how I know. That's how I'm gonna feel.
right.
Before we hit this off, do you have anything?
No, that's it from me.
All right. Before we hit this off, do you have any shout outs or anything you want to ask us?
Just shout out the Barbers, shout out the family. Yeah, man, shout out y'all. I'm excited. I'm ready to, you know, see all the footage and everything.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
I went back and watched y'all's last few episodes.
Thanks, bro.
Solid,
Appreciate
bro.
it.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely be supporting, like, subscribe, all that.
Nice.
You know?
Y'all know the drill. Y'all know how to get down. Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Long overdue for sure. You know, it's not often you meet someone like super authentic right away. And I remember when I met you, you know, we're in a section, you know, partying, but like, I probably talked to you the most in there outside of Kenny and Cayman. So like just knowing like that Cayman, you know, introduced us, and then we still kept a relationship ongoing from, you know, the last couple of years. Like, I'm always checking in and, you know, supporting what you're doing. And it's cool just to see from like, you know, someone else that's kind of in the same field in a way. Like, you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, but also like a minority as well, and like doing big things. So it's good to see, and
yeah, man, appreciate
excited to, you know, finally chop it up with you.
Yeah, definitely.
So. Yes, sir. Again, thank you taking the time out your day, especially that you live in Kyle. It's not a close drive, so appreciate you. I appreciate you letting us use your spot, coming to the shop and shooting here, man. It's a dope place, a good vibe. I mean, if I wasn't loyal to the soil, I'll be here. I'll say that much. When you get that poker table, let me know. Talk about off camera, but let me know.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Bert, thank you again coming. Appreciate you. Cam, appreciate you as always. But this will do it for another episode of Opinionated Off Topic. We'll catch y'all guys next time. Peace.
Going back to barber school, I was flying myself out to barber conventions, and I was seeing those celebrity barbers. I know the barbers who were cutting Diddy, Ludacris, Usher. So I'd identify who those guys were, and I'd go to the shows that they were at, and I'd go network specifically with those guys, and, you know, I'd go support their shows or whatever, and then buy their product. But then we're also doing dinners after their situations, you know, at those hair shows. And I was the young kid. I was the 21-year-old kid at these shows. All these guys are like mid-30s, early 40s. And they're just like, man, this guy, he's, you know, coming, showing face, and you know, he's getting after it, you know. And I would come back home, like I said, ACL, South by Southwest is popping, and they're hitting me up. Hey, you said you were in Austin, right? Hey, I got Khaled down there. I got Rick Ross down there. You can take care of him. And it just, you know, that's just kind of how that got going.
Welcome to another episode of Opinionated Off Topic. Off Topic is a show where we talk to content creators, business owners, and entrepreneurs and give them a platform to talk about what they do in their industry and allow them to discuss it. In today's episode, we have Tre the Barber, or Tre Abeita, on. Tre is a barber in the Austin area who has made numerous connections in the industry with other barbers out of state. Tre started taking calls from other barbers that would allow them to cut their hair, leading to actors, professional athletes, business owners, CEOs, comedians, things of that nature. Tre also owns 2 barbershops in the Austin area, whether that be in Kyle, where he's from, or in the greater East Austin area. If you guys like this episode, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you stay tuned for more.